What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the channel. I'm here with Seth Sarviss. Welcome, Seth.
How you doing?
Yeah, very good. Seth kindly joined us all the way from Mexico. Seth actually interviewed me last week on his interview. We had a chat, it sounds really official interview, doesn't it? We had a good chat on his channel for his new podcast, which is coming out soon last week. And I managed to grab him in Mexico this week to get him on my channel. So, yeah, Seth has had quite a journey selling millions of pounds on Amazon FBA in the USA, isn't it, Seth? No?
Just in the USA, because I got banned in the UK in 2018. Long story, but yeah, I only sell books on the US market.
Cool, awesome. Yeah, so I thought it'd be awesome to get Seth on here, talk about his journey, sort of what inspires him and things like that, and then figure out how he did it, how he ended up selling millions of pounds, selling books on the USA market. So Seth, what did you do before Amazon? Let's just dive straight in. What did you do before Amazon, before you knew Amazon even existed? I'm really interested to hear what you did before that.
Cool, yeah. Well, let's go right back to university, which is a long time ago now. It's crazy how time flies. I'm thinking it's 10 years since I left university now, like nearly. So I studied history at university because I classically, just like most English students, just didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. And I happened to be quite good at writing about history for some reason. So I studied history at the University of York and got that degree, and it's obviously a degree that's not focused on anything at all. So I was in a position, which I'm sure a lot of people are now, even now more than ever, is you leave university with a degree that you've spent a lot of money on, and you actually find it very difficult to get a job. So the only way I got a job was I got a very, very low paid internship through a friend of a friend, because obviously it's who you know, not what you know often, unless you've got a very specialized degree. So I ended up doing some really boring and stressful social media job for a bit. Then I ended up moving into the finance department because I thought that's where you make your money. I thought finance was going to be a really good salary, and there's a good scheme to work your way up in the department, and you'll be making really decent coin within a few years. How little I knew how wrong I was, that I was going to be on. I started on £14,000 back in 2013. And bear in mind that this is a job in London. Everyone knows how expensive London is, a city. It was then, it still is now, even more so. So I was just scraping by, really just had no money to show for myself, and there was no career progression either. So after about 6 months of that, I was just absolutely sick of it. I actually quite liked the team and stuff, but I just hated the work. It was very boring, just working in Excel, data entry, dull as dishwater. So I just thought, why don't I book a flight to Thailand, get on a plane and go do something fun, because I did have a bit of savings. So that's what I did. I went to Thailand, and I did the traveller route that a lot of people do. I did Thailand, went to Laos, went to Vietnam, went to Cambodia. Then I flew to Australia, worked in Australia for about 9-10 months, maybe just under a year. Went to Japan, went to Bali, learned loads of cool stuff in terms of just enjoying life, learning about different cultures, working and living in another country, which I've never done before. I actually did a bit of finance work while I was in Australia. Still hated it, but it was just fun because I was in Australia, right? Yeah. But then the problem is, you come back from traveling and you still don't know what to do, because you've not decided what you want to do. I came back with a bit more of a hippie attitude. I think I went vegan for about 6 to 9 months. Everyone thought I'd gone a bit nuts. Yeah. Everyone thought I went a bit nuts because I was very hippie. I was very pro environment and all that. Not that I'm not now, but I was very preachy about it. And then I just did a few random jobs, sales and stuff. Just couldn't find my feet at all. And then something clicked in my head where I just thought, oh, I've got to be an adult now and I've got to do something serious. So then for some reason, after bouncing around doing different sales jobs, I decided, I'm gonna do finance. I'm gonna do accountancy. I'm gonna really take it seriously. So I got a job at I got a job at Toyota Insurance, which it was as interesting as it sounds. Toyota car insurance. It was dire, but for some reason I thought that I'm gonna work really hard and get really good at this. And I had the mindset that if I get really good at accountancy and finance and I get trained in it, then maybe at some point along the way I'll start to enjoy it. And I think there is an aspect of, if you're good at something, right, you enjoy it more. But I just found that I was doing this studying and I wasn't getting any better at it. No one at work was recognizing me getting better at it. And I was just in that same rut before, but I was earning slightly more money. I was on like £30,000 to £32,000, which is what at the time was kind of a fairly decent salary. Yeah, not nothing special, but for not having any qualifications yet, I was just studying. And then in 2017 Christmas, my grandmother gave me £5,000 because obviously they don't want to get inheritance tax to like 50% when they pass, right? So they want to give away some of their money. So they thought they'll give me, my brother and my sister, £5,000. And then I remember she said at the Christmas dinner table, like, I don't think any of you, I'm giving you this money, but she basically challenged us that no one's going to make as much money as my husband. And that really annoyed me because I'm really competitive and I don't like to lose at anything. So that was a real challenge. And I thought, Nan, like, I'm gonna prove you wrong on that. So then like it's weird how the universe sometimes works. Like I had that mindset that I'm going to prove my grandmother wrong. She's given me a little bit of money. I've got some more money saved up, and then I came across one of Matt Webley's videos that you could go into a local retail store.
We're getting to that. That's my next question. We're getting to that. Before, I've just got another question about your, before we discovered Amazon, if you don't mind. First, so
yeah, sure.
We don't lose anyone. So that period when you obviously, you left university, whatever you were doing, you weren't at university. Did you go to university?
Yeah. So I studied history at the University of York.
Oh, that was it. Sorry, yeah. You were at uni doing that. Some people do that at college and stuff. Yeah. So you left the university, and then just before you discovered Amazon, how did you feel in that sort of period? Did you feel like lost? Would that be a good word to describe it? Because you were just bouncing around in different jobs and like traveling and stuff like that.
Yeah, lost is definitely a good word for it, but it probably doesn't cut it in the sense that I just constantly felt like I wasn't achieving my potential. I felt like I was constantly in a rut. I was a total weekend warrior in the sense that I properly hated Monday to Friday afternoon. I absolutely despised it. Well, Thursday evening, and then like Friday would come around, and I would get out of bed on Friday morning absolutely buzzing for the weekend. Yeah. And I'd go to the pub with work after, and I'd drink 8 to 10 pints, and then I'd do the same on Saturday, just because I was just trying to escape this horrible Monday to Friday grind that I wasn't enjoying, didn't see any future. And on Sunday I would feel not only hungover, I'd be so anxious and not wanting to go to work, but I didn't see a way out because I didn't have enough money to just quit my job and be like, oh, let's try something new. And I also didn't know what to do. I just had no idea. So I just thought, oh, I'm just going to keep grinding away. So yeah, lost in a rut. I just like genuinely, other than the time when I went traveling, which was when I was like 23 to 24, which was obviously great fun. From say 22 to like 26, I wasn't enjoying life that much, I'd say. Like, it really wasn't that much fun, just thinking that you didn't have any sort of future or anything.
But for me to get a good idea of how entrepreneurs are sort of maybe different, or how someone would know if they're an entrepreneur or they've got something else that they can achieve. Like, do you think that you always knew that you were going to do something more, or do you reckon you actually got to a stage where you felt like this is literally my life forever? When you weren't happy in them few years.
It's a really good question because it's tough to put myself back in those shoes because I guess I kind of don't even want to think about it. But yeah. I guess I probably always had a few ounces of thought that I can't actually physically or mentally do this for the rest of my life, I would I just don't think I would be able to. But it was like I said, being in a rut, I didn't know what the alternative was. So I'm thinking in my head, yeah, I deserve better. I want better. But what can I do? Everyone says how difficult it is to start a business. I knew I didn't want a boss. I hated being employed. I hated having a boss. I hated the whole 9 to 5 thing. It just doesn't fit with me. It still doesn't. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing now. But when you don't know what to do, and you've got to say no friends who are doing it, and at that time there wasn't really as much of a YouTube or Instagram culture around entrepreneurialism, I don't think. That's really cropped up in the last 5 years. So I mean, it probably was there, I just wasn't looking in the right places. But when you don't know what to look for, you don't know what you're going to do, and society tells you how hard it is to break away from the 9 to 5, then what can you do? So yeah, and I was never the sort of person who had a lemonade stand or sold things in the school playground. You know, I didn't do any of that. I was very vanilla. What I would say is I was really good at school. I was straight A student, so I was, you know, seen as someone who should be doing really well and should be excelling in life in general. And then when I finished university and wasn't excelling, that was really stressful and quite horrible, really, because I'd have all my peers who are possibly doing quite well, getting good jobs, getting promoted, and I was just doing bare minimum, and that wasn't nice. So I guess all of those things probably culminated together into what's happened now, like just the pain of not enjoying your life and thinking that you deserve more, right?
Yeah. No, it makes a lot of sense. Yeah, like that obviously says that, you know, because you were a straight A student, either you were just really, really, really smart straight away, or you really, really had the ability to focus on one thing and actually get it done and finish it through to the end. Like for me, I was different at school. Like, you know, I didn't do that well, not because I couldn't. I'm actually quite smart, you know, not blowing my own horn, but I just didn't care. I just didn't care. School didn't have a place in my life. But you managing to get that done, as I say, either you were just really, really smart, straight off the bat, like ultra smart, or you actually had the ability to really, really focus, which has obviously probably helped you, you know, later on in your business. Well,
I would just say I was a massive nerd, and I hated school because I just didn't like being at school, because it's almost like you're employed in a way. So I don't like having a boss. So teacher's your boss, but I did enjoy the structure, and I did enjoy a lot of the work because I was good at it. Because I was getting A's throughout from, you know, from primary school, when I was, you know, 5 years old, I was smashing the tests out, right? Yeah. Right the way through till sixth form. It's fun being good at something, right? But it's because it was so structured. And I think the problem with the English school system, if we go on a real tangent, is just that it's not very made up for people. It's made to I'm trying to think. It's like to make employed cattle, right? It's the system's set up to create employees. It's not set up to create entrepreneurs.
Yeah, I mean, you can do.
Yeah, it's not create
computer, can't you? You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it's just like society and the school system teaches you that you are going to go to school, you're going to do your GCSEs, you're going to do your exams, you're going to go to university, you're going to get a degree, and then you're going to get a job, and you're going to work for the next 35, 40 years, and then you're going to retire. And that's what you're taught to do. And then I guess I liked the fact that I had a structure until I was 18. Yeah. Sorry, 21 after university. But it's weird because once you finish university, there's no plan, right?
Yeah.
Everything up until you're 21, for most people who go to university, is you know exactly what you're going to do. Every week, every month, you know, like it's planned out, right? You've got tests that you're going to revise for. You've got coursework that you're going to do. So then when I left, I just thought there's this massive playbook of infinite opportunity that I could do, but I don't know what to do. And I think that's a massive problem, right? And it took me 5-6 years to realize that, if I want something, I've got to go and get it myself. It's not going to get given to me. But I think if you do well at school and you're quite gifted, you think things are going to be presented to yourself. And that's what I thought. I thought, someone's going to give me a great opportunity and it's just going to come into my lap. that's not the way life works, right? You've got to work for it. You've got to carve your own path. It doesn't get carved for you, right?
I think that's a really interesting point you made just then. Like, you've touched on an amazing point, you know, where it goes, if it's going to be, it's up to me. And that's quite a famous saying, you know, if it's going to be, then it's up to me. And like, for me, that's when I realised that, that's when I started that, you know, improving my life and making big changes. It wasn't instant, but I was starting making big changes. And that sounds like as soon as you realise that, if it's going to be, then it's up to me, that's when you start making changes as well. And there's a lot of people that leave university and they end up working in cafes and stuff like that, because they're just so lost, you know, not because they haven't got more ability. And a lot of them in a few years' time go on to further things. But I don't think they've realised that at that stage. And so that's a really interesting point that you've touched on there. So let's move on. So that was your sort of, you know, whatever, you know, before the Amazon world that you're in now. So you were just going to say, before I rudely cut you off to get more about your past, how did you discover Amazon, but primarily books, which I'm really interested in? You discovered Amazon, but then obviously you went straight into books. Well, when I say straight in, pretty much straight in, which isn't the normal route. So how did you discover that and, you know, see that opportunity there?
Yeah, I'll definitely dive into that, but I do want to touch on what you just said a little bit more, because because once you said that you know, we're the master of our own destiny, captain of our soul. Do you know that quote? I really like that quote, but yeah. I don't know what it's from. But when you said that made me think in my head that I think that was the turning point at that Christmas. It was my grandmother giving me that challenge, bit of money, and then that kind of sowed the seed to make me think, I need to do something now. No one's going to do anything for me. Yeah. I need to create it myself. And I think that mindset shift is so powerful, realizing that no one owes you anything. Like my grandmother doesn't owe me anything. My parents don't. Like the universe doesn't. You don't. Your friends don't. It's down to you, isn't it? So no, it's really interesting how I just remembered that when you were saying that. I think that was so key, so pivotal.
Yeah, that is so interesting.
Yeah, but
I don't remember when I discovered that, but I was definitely floating around life before I discovered that. That's for sure.
Yeah, and obviously, as you said, it's not necessarily a light bulb switches on and off with the whole becoming an entrepreneur, but as light bulb switches go, that was probably the biggest catalyst, was that Christmas and me having that mindset shift. But so that's what happened. That Christmas mindset shift, and then between Christmas and I set up my company, my limited company, on January the 19th or 18th, something like that, 2018. So between Christmas 2018, so between Christmas 2017 and that, which is less than a month, right? I was thinking of a million different things, what I wanted to do and what I could do with regards to making money. I tried crypto arbitrage. I tried like looking into drop shipping. I was looking at match betting. It's hard to remember, because it was over 4 years ago now. But there was just what I started with. I went on Google and just put in how to make money online, and obviously you're going to get loads of different results. And then I started getting ads for loads of how to make money online. So then I was just soaking up all this information. I was getting on loads of different newsletters, like sales newsletters, crypto, and then at some point I fell into the Amazon sales funnel of Matt Webley, and I found his YouTube channel, and I found the Secret Wealth Project Facebook group, and something just made me think that this is the one for me. This is what I can do, because it was so simple. I like simple processes, simple systems, things that I can easily work out in my head. And this really worked in the sense that he was teaching us that all you have to do is you go to your local retail shop down the road. So in the UK, it might be Argos. In the US, it'd be like Walmart or something. And then you pick up a couple of Barbie dolls or whatever, and then you take them home and you package them up. You send them into Amazon and you sell them for a profit. So you bought them for £10, $15, and you sell them for £20, $30 or whatever, and you make $5 to $10 profit on that. And then you just rinse and repeat. Yeah. And that's classic retail arbitrage. And then once because I lived in Stratford in London at the time, which has got a massive Westfield shopping centre near it, so I thought this is a good opportunity. I can just walk over there. I quickly realised that when you're buying products like Barbie dolls, which are driving in a Volkswagen Beetle, which happened to be a really profitable RA item, but they are massive. They're like huge. So I can only carry 2 at a time. And I just thought, well, this isn't very scalable. And this isn't something that's going to make me be able to quit my job, which is that was the ultimate goal for me at the time, quitting the job. And then I quickly found out that you could do this online. I thought, and there were softwares where you can scan the websites throughout the day. And then obviously, because I was working corporate job at the time, I could have those like taxable arbitrage. I could have those software tools running for me whilst I'm at work. I could come home from work, pick up all the deals, and rinse and repeat and keep doing that. So I wouldn't say I was that good at it. I saw repeated profits coming in, and I saw something here, and I thought, I can scale this. I can stop, and I can quit my job doing this. And because it was simple, it was just buy stuff, buy low, sell high. And I loved it. I was completely obsessed with it. I was waking up a couple of hours before work, like 5, 6 a.m., and I was buying as much stuff as I could, going to work, buying as much stuff as I could in my lunch hour, and then coming home from work, doing exactly the same. And then like I was just totally obsessed with Amazon. Like you couldn't get me to think about anything else. Like, all my friends will tell you that they lost Seth for about 3 years. They will tell you that. They're like, he never came out, he never socialized, he was a complete hermit. And for the first year and a half, that none of them got it. They were like, oh, have we lost you as a friend? And I got quite a lot of flack for it. And because they didn't see the vision, they didn't see what I was doing. So then I did that for about 6, 7 months in 2018. And then I got banned on the UK account because I was buying loads of I was just buying loads of counterfeit stuff on eBay without realizing. So I was just being a little fraudster, but only because I was so obsessed with getting to my end goal of quitting my job that I wasn't stopping to think, oh, should I be buying Mercedes hubcaps from a random dude on eBay that says they're official, but obviously they weren't. So I was buying Mercedes hubcaps, fake Pokemon video games, like Game Boy games. I was just all sorts of stuff that I didn't realize at the time. I just thought, oh, this looks real. So eventually I got banned pretty quickly on Amazon UK. But luckily I fell into another sales funnel, which was related to selling books on Amazon US. And I didn't realize that when you've got a global account, a global Amazon seller account, if you are banned in the UK, you can still sell in the US. And I just thought, oh, fantastic. Because I was banned in the UK and the EU. So, and that was like the goose laying the golden egg for me. I thought, oh, this is my ticket to freedom. And I've gone and blown it. And I was never able to get that account banned. It's still banned. But luckily, I found this guy with a Facebook group selling books online, and some of the profits just looked ridiculous. And I signed up to the software, and I instantly just was finding books that I could buy and sell for really good profits. And I didn't realize that I didn't need to do it. I didn't need to be in the US, which was pretty awesome. Like, I didn't realize that I could be in the UK and I could buy a book in the US and ship it to a prep center, and then the prep center in the US ship it into Amazon, and I could be selling without touching a book. And that was another light bulb moment that I just thought that was absolutely crazy.
Just to touch on that then, I mean, like you confidently said that you just gave it a go and you started doing the books, but like a lot of people struggle to take that action, and they think that maybe this is a scam, or it's not going to work, or it's too good to be true. Did you have any of them doubts, or any of them thoughts, or do you think because you already tried OA and you knew it worked?
Yeah, it's the fact that I was so laser focused on the vision of being able to quit my job with Amazon and arbitrage on Amazon, and the fact that I had no other avenue to put this laser focus because I wasn't able to sell on the UK market. As soon as I found another avenue, which was books on the .com on the US market. I just thought, well, if it's been working for me, if it's been working for me in the UK, and also bear in mind, I'm only selling books, there's no VAT on them. And I figured it's very unlikely, or it's very rare that I will get banned selling books, because there are counterfeit books, right? But it's a lot rarer, and I wasn't buying them from some shoddy eBay seller with no feedback, right? I'm buying books from reputable sellers like Better World Books and World Books, and big businesses doing multi-million dollars. So you're getting sold a product it's not fake, essentially. So I never had any fears about doing it in the US, really, because I guess I had the social proof from the software and the Facebook group and people posting their results, lots of different people. I'd done it before already. So I guess I never thought about that, but that might have just been me being naive, in the sense that I just had this vision and thought, well, I'm going to do it whatever way, and I'm not going to worry about potentially doing something that's not going to work. And I did have a bit of cash. I had a lot of cash tied up in UK stock, but I did make some profits in those 6 months. So I was funneling all those profits into books, and I just thought, I'm going to make this work. And that was it, really.
Nice. Okay, so tell me about so you obviously discovered books and it started to work and things like that. So tell me about your first year in business, like, your challenges that you had in the first year and the breakthroughs that you had, the challenges you had. Just how was the first year, if you could sort of generalize the whole experience?
I mean, the first year was amazing, exhilarating, exciting, tough, very mentally draining, because I had a job the whole time. So I was working 9 till 5, obviously 9 to 5, but every waking hour outside of that, and sometimes whilst I was at work, all I was thinking about was Amazon. And it was tough because obviously halfway through the first year, I got banned on the UK. I had loads of money tied up in UK stock, which I had to slowly sell on eBay. And a lot of the people watching will know that eBay is just not as, sales velocity is not quite there as Amazon, especially with arbitrage products. So I was selling so many products at a slower rate and at a loss. So I was losing a lot of money. I had 2 maxed out credit cards. I was in a lot of debt, but because I saw the green shoots of recovery, as it were, with books, I thought, I'm gonna turn this around. But it was there were a bunch of moments in that first year where I thought, I might have to pat this in. I might have to ask my parents to repay this debt that I'm in. But luckily, towards it was about a year in that I just had this almost epiphany with books, that I can set alerts on Amazon listings using Keeper. Say there's a book, I can look at the data on Keeper and see, this book has dropped to a level. Let's say the book consistently sells throughout the year at $60, but I can see with the Keeper data, bear in mind this only costs $20 a month or $25. I think it was free at the time for a little bit, but either way, I can see that this book over the last 3 months has dropped to $20 3 times. So with that knowledge, I know that probably this book's going to drop to $20 again. I can nip in, I can set an alert at 20, nip in when it next drops, and then I can send that to the prep center and sell it at 60. And if I can do that over an absolute bunch of ASINs, a lot of the advice that OA and RA gurus will tell you, go wide, not deep. And that's great for books because there's so many different books. So I just started setting, the maximum amount of alerts you can set on Keeper is 5,000. So I very quickly got to the maximum of 5,000 Keeper alerts. And this was at a time when Keeper alerts weren't as saturated as they are now. They're a little bit more saturated now. It's harder to make money with Keeper on books now. But at the time, it was like shooting fish in a barrel. I was getting so many leads per day and so many 5 to 20 self-60 offers. And that enabled me to go from, in 2018, I probably did about $40,000 to $50,000 in sales. But then the following year, 2019, I went straight up to $450, just because I was really smashing the book alert model. And then during that 2019, I quit my job, so I was able to dedicate more time to it, and that just meant that I could shore up my systems and processes a bit, and make sure that I was in the right, heading in the right direction to just keep smashing it. And I've just never looked back since then.
So,
but I will say that. Sorry, go on.
Got yeah. So 2019, 450,000. What do you mind sharing your numbers in 2020 and then 2021 or?
Yeah, so 2019, $450,000, and then 2020 was $565,000, and then last year we did just under $1.1 million.
Wow, that is literally crazy. You told me before the call, but
yeah,
I had no idea it was that many. Like, no idea it was that much. That's huge.
Yeah. Hopefully, we're aiming for two mil this year, which is very, very punchy, very optimistic and ambitious. But there's no point in shooting for something that's not right. So that's the goal. We'll see where we get to.
That is absolute. Do you have to kick yourself sometimes thinking where you've come in 3 years? Because that is a short space of time. You see these people on Dragon's Den that are like, how long have you been running? 3 years. Yeah, we made a net loss of 250,000 last year. And that's normal for like a normal brick and mortar business, or not even a brick and mortar business, a business that isn't on Amazon or they haven't mastered e-commerce. I don't think people realise how lucky they are. People moan about online arbitrage, for example, when they start, they only made $5,000 in their first year. I'm like, look, a lot of companies don't make money for 5 years. So it's actually not that bad, and you've learned all the ropes and things like that. But you have to kick yourself, sometimes.
Yeah, totally. I think the main thing I need to constantly try to do, and I do try to do it daily, is gratitude. I need to pinch myself and be grateful for the opportunity that Amazon has provided. And I think not enough sellers are grateful for the business model. A lot of sellers get too hung up on the negatives, and there are obviously negatives. It's very easy for customers to send in returns well past the 90-day return period, stuff like that. There's loads of little things that could get you annoyed, but as long as you focus on the big picture and think this is a money-making machine if you do it right. But yeah, I do have to just make sure that I keep my priorities in check and don't get ungrateful, really. That's the main thing.
So you've done around about $2 million in sales, 1.92 million, something like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably getting closer to 2.3, 2.4 now with this year. We're in March now, and then factoring in 2018. So yeah.
Yeah, so you've done
we're doing all right.
You've done over 2 million US, way over, probably, haven't you? Yeah. Wow, that's just absolutely crazy. What's your plans for the next couple of years?
Well, as I say, 2022, we want to do 2 million. I hired my first VA last January, so I'm still very new to building a team, being a manager, trying to be a leader. I've also got a Facebook group called Selflimiting FBA, so I help people kind of do what I'm doing and have done.
Awesome.
So I've got kind of goals with the Facebook group. I'm also just started podcasts. Like you said at the start of the call, that you came on that last week and we had a great conversation. So I've got lots of, I've got fingers in different pies. There's lots of goals and monetary things in my head going on. But yeah, I've got lots of big plans for the future.
Yeah. So next couple of years is obviously focus on the business, keep scaling it up. You said you've got a couple of million plan, and then you want to grow the podcast and the Facebook group and the YouTube and stuff like that as well. Which, by the way, guys, obviously go and check out if you're interested in books, because obviously Seth's a great guy. I've known him for a long time. What is it? Sell Books FBA, and then the YouTube channel is what? What's that called?
Yeah, so the Facebook group's called Selflimiting FBA. Podcast is called Books Business Growth. So you'll be able to find them, but Google's your friend on this one. You'll be able to find me easily. But yeah, the main goal is always with books. Always wanted to scale the Amazon business because that's what started it all. I'm still very passionate about it. But it's about, I guess now it's about scaling the team, making sure I'm being a good leader, making sure that I'm working on the business rather than in the business. and making sure that it can grow without me. Essentially, those are the main goals for the next couple of years: is to keep growing the revenue, keep growing the profits, grow the team, and make sure that I'm not required. So that I'm in Mexico City at the moment. I want to, maybe if I wanted to go for a week in Cabo or Cancun, or go to Bogota or San Jose in Costa Rica, if I want to do that and maybe not take my laptop, that is probably the dream goal. I still have to take a laptop everywhere because you still need to check in and stuff, right? But I guess the ultimate goal would be that I could actually just go to a beach for 2 weeks if I wanted to. Not saying I do, but if I wanted to, and just not touch anything Amazon related, that would be pretty cool.
Yeah. I know what you mean. But as Amazon sellers or e-commerce sellers in general, we have to carry our laptops everywhere, don't we? Even if I don't really need it, I just carry it anyway. I remember my ex, she was like, I'd taken her on holiday, she was like, are you really going to take that? And I was like, the reason we can go and I paid for this is because of this business. Obviously, I've got to take it. You just have to, don't you? So just in case of emergency. So obviously, you're at the stage now where you've done like over 2 million in sales, but it wasn't long ago that you were actually a little bit lost, really lost. I mean, that wasn't long ago at all. Like 3 years ago is nothing. I remember when I was in Bruges 3 years ago, and it felt like, nothing. That was just before I started my journey, actually. Around about the same time, actually, which is nuts. Your sort of mindset and things like that, if you could go back, what would you be telling yourself differently, knowing what you know now? If you could go back to when you started, you must have been thinking stuff or telling yourself stuff that obviously maybe wasn't true, or you were expecting it to be easier than it was, or it was easier than you thought it was. What would you tell yourself differently, like if you could go back, just for people that are watching that are sort of scared to take the leap and stuff like that?
Well, see, what would I tell my 25-year-old self, kind of thing?
I suppose so. Just before you took the leap into the business, obviously you would have had a lot of doubts and things like that. So what would you tell yourself differently, or tell others to sort of think about, just going for it and believing in yourself?
Yeah, it's a good question. It's hard to know what I would say, because I guess I've done well so far. It's worked, but I know that we could always have done things faster, better, earlier. I guess I think more important would be to tell my 23-year-old self that I think the main thing is having self-limiting beliefs, isn't it? Just thinking that you can't do it. That anyone can change their life, change their emotional reaction to the way they've been treated in the past, and not make excuses for things that have happened. I'm really struggling with this question of what I would say, because, I don't know. One thing I would say actually is that I was very negative when I got out of university, and we've touched on this actually. It's that I think that I thought that I was owed something because I was intelligent, I was book smart, I did well at university, I did well at school. I thought that, why doesn't my dad know someone who can get me a really good job?
Yeah.
Why can't one of my friends? Honestly, that was constantly whirring through my head. Why isn't someone realizing how smart I am and how hardworking I am and how good I would be at X, Y, Z job? And when you have that, that's a very, very negative thought pattern. And I thought I was a very positive, happy individual, right? When I left university, that I remember thinking that I was. And my boss in my first job once said to me, he said, you're like, he just said you're super negative, but he likened me to a really dour figure from an old school comedy. So I won't mention who it is because I can't even remember, but because people won't even know, because I didn't even watch it because he was older than me, right? But he just said it's like Herman Melville or something, from One Foot in the Grave. So it's a really old school UK comedy, and this guy, like, I knew of him, and he's just the most negative individual, and that's why he's funny. And then when he said that, I just thought, God, am I actually like that? So that was definitely probably a bit of a turning point, even though that was well before starting Amazon. That was well before anything. I just thought, I need to get out of this, because if you are thinking negatively throughout the day, which is very easy to do if you hate your job, how are you going to pull yourself out of that? So you've got to be able to see. You've got to be able to see a better vision of on the horizon. I guess I didn't, and also probably just getting drunk throughout the weekend and not bettering myself didn't help either. So that would probably be advice. It's like maybe stop getting drunk Friday and Saturday night just because you're trying to escape. You know, maybe try and find something better to do, because there's no reason I couldn't have started at Amazon at 22, right, when I finished university, and imagine where I'd be now. An extra 5 years in Amazon, I'd be doing 10 mil.
Yeah.
So I definitely, well, I was just way too late to the party, just because it shouldn't have taken me until I was 26 to have the confidence. It's probably a confidence thing. Is that you need to think positive, you need to be confident in your abilities, and you need to work to your strengths, and you need to realise that there's a better future for you if you want it. Just don't spend your day scrolling TikTok and watching YouTube videos that's not favouring you. And I was probably doing a lot of that, you know, getting drunk Friday and Saturday, spending too much time not working on myself, not trying to enhance my skill set. You know, try and start a side hustle, try and learn how to code, try and learn sales and marketing. You know, these are the sort of things you need to do, because even if you don't go into sales and marketing, or you don't become a coder, just the act of doing that, not to get all woo-woo, but that tells the universe that you want to do better than yourself, right? But if you spend your weekends being lazy watching Netflix, then how are you going to improve your future, right? So that's something I started to do after I got back from traveling. It's like I actually did try to learn to code, and it turns out it's a lot harder than I thought. But I was doing lots of little things like that. So whether it's like learning a language, learning a coding language, you know, starting a side hustle, trying to sell things on eBay, you've got to try loads of different things to realise what works and what doesn't, right? So I'm really waffling here, but as a roundabout way, that's making me think that would be great advice. Is just to try loads of stuff, try loads of different things, do loads of different jobs, go traveling, try different side hustles, because it's all about taking action, right? And that would be my core advice. Do loads of different things to work out what works and what doesn't, and then enhance the things that do work and cut out the things that don't work. That's my golden advice.
Awesome. Love it. So, Seth, thanks for your time, by the way. Final question. What drives you?
So when I started Amazon, the absolute driver was to quit my job. That was just the ultimate goal. I just thought I will be so proud of myself for being able to quit my job, because obviously I've met loads of entrepreneurs through like the Facebook group, for example, like yourself, Thomas Parkinson, and plenty of other people. But before that, I actually just didn't have any friends who were doing anything entrepreneurial whatsoever. So I was kind of the first person in my friendship group to do anything like that. So that was my ultimate driver. But it only took me, a year and a few months to get to that goal. And then I did actually get to that goal and thought, well, I'm still enjoying Amazon. I'm loving it. But I do actually need a new North Star. And it took me quite a while I had to ponder on that for a long time. It definitely took me a year or so to think of one. But now it's my ultimate goal is, so I'm 31 in July of this year, 2022. By the age of 35, I want to have enough money in an investment portfolio which is passively putting out like my living costs, so that if I wanted to just cut off all ties with the world and just go live on a beach somewhere, I could. Not saying that I will, but if I want, so essentially my guiding North Star is total financial freedom and independence. Yeah. And that's what drives me every day, and that's what gets me out of bed in the morning.
Sounds beautiful. Sounds beautiful. Seth, thanks so much for the time. That's fantastic. I think we'll wrap up there. Have an amazing time in Mexico. I might be out there by the end of the year, actually. I'm off to Slovenia in a couple of weeks, like week and a half, just because I fancy a little getaway. I'm a little bit scared to get in the country. I've been out for about 2.5 years because of COVID. So I thought I need to go on a small trip and then I'll go on a big trip afterwards. So depending on where that is, I might see you out there. Now we're allowed to do that stuff, you know. Yeah, so it's exciting. But you're with Thomas Parkinson now, aren't you?
I am indeed. He's in a couple of rooms nearby. We're in a WeWork space in Mexico City. It's lovely and sunny outside. We're on the 38th floor. Free tea and coffee. I cannot complain. So I'll probably go for a little jog later in the sunshine around one of the beautiful parks in the city. Yeah, loving life. Can't complain.
I was going
the
to say,
life of a digital nomad.
Yeah, it's so inspiring with people watching that, you know, the amount that you've done, which gives you the freedom and, like, you know, financial freedom, time freedom as well. Now you've outsourced it, you've outsourced a big, you know, majority of it as far as I'm aware. It just gives you the freedom to just, you know, be able to do what you want, really. But I know people like us, people like me, you, Thomas, you know, we love to work, so we still work loads. I mean, personally, I do. I know Thomas does. I don't know about you as much. But it's just having the ability to not have to if we don't want to, even if we do want to, if that makes sense. So, yeah. Anyway, it's just inspiring for everyone watching at home to show that, you know, you're sort of doing the thing. You know, you are like doing the nomad thing, and you're in Mexico, and yeah, it's good.
4-hour work week.
Yeah, if we want it. Seth, cheers.
Exactly.
Thanks so much for the call, and we're definitely catch up soon. Anyway.
Yeah, thanks very much for having me on.
Cheers, all. See you soon.